Hello, this is the first step-by-step tutorial which is free with every animate package and can be watched freely on my YouTube channel. It is the basics of Adobe Animate. So everyone knows how to open an application. As soon as you get Animate, install it or buy Creative Cloud, then you want to load up Animate and this will appear. So create new or open, home or learn, but you can learn from me, it's free, and before you decide to buy it or sign up for Creative Cloud, you can always see what can be created first. But if you want to do an animation, you go to full HD, and these are the selections you can have. You could go to more selections, and if you press more, then this comes up. Very high quality definition pixels, and yeah, so it's your frame rate and your style of canvas, social, education, ads, etc. But you don't really need to worry about that. You can open up canvas and start out as a canvas and change it to all exactly the same using your document settings here. So first things first, this is your stage, which is the white piece, which is your canvas, and all the black is your stage. But what is visible on your published file is within the white section. And believe it or not, you can mask stuff so it doesn't override the line or the outset of your canvas. If you was to, for example, write some text, just for example, and put it there, and then say Control and Enter. Oh no, it's not Control and Enter, is it? It's, yeah, see? It cuts it off. And you can't see it. But if it was a flash file, or an SWF, you'd be able to pull it out. But let's forget about that at the moment. Here, this piece here is your tools. We've got the selection tool, the free transform tool, which changes the size, the rotation, etc. You have the lasso tool and the polygon tool, which you can lasso objects to select pieces of it. You can get your paintbrush, which is simple to understand. It's just a paintbrush. With your arrow tool, which I just demonstrated, you can select like you would with a lasso tool. And there's a rectangle tool, which is obviously what it says it is, a rectangle, which is what I use most of the time. But as a rectangle, you can turn it into a shape of what you desire. So if you're wondering, I've used Animate before and I'm wondering how I'm doing that, I'm actually pressing, holding down Control and holding down Shift at the same time to pull out a point within the document, well, the vector piece that you've created using your rectangle tool. And as you can see, you can make any sort of shape. You have a line tool, which is like the pencil tool, which again you can make any sort of shape. And it can get quite easy and quite fun to draw your own animations and everything. And let's just go over, instead of going through absolutely everything, let's go over the main things that you'll use. You use your arrow tool, which is the button V on your keyboard as a hotkey, your rectangle tool, which is the letter R on your keyboard if you want to write them down. So V shortcut for your arrow select tool, and R is a shortcut to your rectangle tool. Once you have a rectangle pulled out, to change the points, which is here, and to make a new one is Control and Shift. If you hold them down together and go up to the line, you should be able to pull a point out. That's with the arrow key, which is V, as I've said. And you can just hover over the edge and you'll see the icon change. And it doesn't change for you when you want to pull out a point. And that looks like it could be a little Twitter sign already, doesn't it? Little Twitter sign. That's quite funny how that happened. That is basically the most you'll use is, well, that's what I use mostly, is the arrow tool, the rectangle tool, and the free transform tool, which is Q on the keyboard. And you can, as I said, the arrow tool will change if you hover over the edges. You can skew it either way like that. You can resize it, you can rotate it. But there's also something I use quite often if I change the fill, which I'll talk about in a minute because that's basically the basics as well. So change colour. You can change a colour in loads of different ways. You can select it and then in the properties tab you have fill here. So you can just select a fill and change it. Or you can go to this toolpad and select the colour and change the fill here. And this point, this is what I bring up all the time when I need to change to a radial, which is what I was going to talk about. A linear gradient and a radial gradient bring in more colours into the one colour. So as you can see in your swatch colour arrangement, you can click underneath with your arrow tool and add in separate colours that will merge together. And you can even make it invisible. That's what invisible is, alpha or transparency. You select the icon, the pull out, pull in icon that you change the colour of, and bring the alpha down, which you can also do by selecting this fill. Well, you used to be able to, and no you can't. Always remember as well, Control and Z is undo. So if you ever make a mistake, Control and Z, that's a good thing to write down. But like I was saying, the linear gradient is in a straight line difference in colour. The radial is a circular difference. As you can see, it's gone circular. But if you press F on the keyboard, you'll see that, press F on the keyboard, you can change the shape of the radial or the radial gradient, or you can pull it out, pull it in like so, or you can rotate it. That's how you draw stuff and add the colours and add shadow, etc. using colour gradients, which I'll talk about more in detail in the packages and even in the free step-by-step animate character creation tutorials. So let's just go over what we've learned, make it really simple. Copy. want you to write this down. So copy, paste, arrow select, free transform, your rectangle equals R. Right, if you write this stuff down, that's a good place to start. And you also want to remember this very key cheat or shortcut is hold shift and control and with arrow pulls a right. So this is your notes for this free tutorial, and if you've got the application already, then you should go out and mess around with rectangles and color arrangements like you would with any sort of designing software, and get used to these particular demands and shortcuts. Demands and shortcuts. Yeah, so that's the basics of Adobe Animate, controlling your workspace and the rectangle tool to create shapes and color arrangement in detail. Thank you for listening.